Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely little island of Fawnhollow today with Vivian taking a seat in front of the wedding organ to, of course, play us a fantastic piece. What do you think she's going to play? How about Prelude in C minor by J.S. Bach? Is that even a thing? It's a piano piece I learned ages ago for my grade 8 piano. It goes like da 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 da. Anyway, you're not really here to hear some weird vocal rendition of a multi-layered piano piece, so we'll get straight into some Animal Crossing instead. Hello everyone, right now in Fawnhollow it's 5:02 PM on Monday, May 31st, 2021, last day of May. Now for today's announcements, we have a new friend on our island. Let's give a big Fawnhollow welcome to Claude. Claude, on behalf of your new island family, welcome aboard. That's all for now. I hope you all enjoy the loveliest of lovely days. Thank you, Isabel. Let's all get straight into it. A bit of a later recording today, had a bit of a barbecue, so I'm feeling very mellowed out, if anything. Looked up stuff I needed to record today. We meant to record some chicken police. Went, nah. I'll record them tomorrow. So from Mira, sit here. Things haven't been too crazy for me lately, but you don't see me moping over it. That's because I'm thankful even for the bad times. You take all that stuff and use it for fertilizer. Then you see what blooms. Wow's on Mira. Wise on Mira. Thank you, Mira, for those motivational words. We don't have Red visiting today, so we'll just quickly have a pop over here to see. It's a wandering visitor. So, yeah, had a bit of barbecue. Yeah, I was going to record some chicken please, like, you know. Normally I try and record, like, 2 other videos for today. But, you know, with Fez, the next video I need to record is the code-breaking one. And for Celeste, I think Celeste is ahead in videos by, like, 2 or 3 weeks. Sorry, not 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 episodes. So, the next one is chicken please, which is normally quite easy to record. But, you know, it's just like, I'm not feeling recording today. I'm feeling too mellowed out. I'm feeling too relaxed, you know. And plus, it's a bank holiday Monday here in UK, which basically means it's a 3-day weekend. So, you know, what better way to take advantage of it than just watching videos and having a nice barbecue in the quite lovely weather. It's still actually surprisingly sunny. Got quite warm, so here I am inside again. So, barbecue over, but it was very nice. And instead of having a dinner, or just a large enough lunch to really make up for it, which is apparently what they used to do, like way back when or whatever. Is it a thing someone told me once, is that they just had like one massive meal in the middle of the day or whatever, instead of having like breakfast, lunch and dinner and multiple meals or whatever thing is. And then I feel like he followed up with telling me that what you're meant to do is have multiple small meals throughout the day instead of one big meal, or something is better for you in some aspect, which is, you know, fair enough. But I mean, not that I be dismissive or anything, but I can't really get myself infused up to make 10 different tiny meals for myself and eat it slowly throughout the day. Like, I guess, but, you know, I feel like having three meals a day is a pretty good compromise, you know. You can have snacks if you want. I'm not really much of a snack person. Reminds me once when I was younger, I can't remember what I did, but my parents punished me by being like, oh, you can't eat any food from now until dinner, which was, like, basically not a punishment for me, mainly because I didn't eat snacks, but I misunderstood what they said, and I thought they said you can't have dinner today, so I was like, okay, that means it was a one time I actually had snacks, so I was like, okay, if I'm not allowed to eat dinner, I'll just have snacks now, and then for dinner I won't eat anything, so I refused dinner. They were just like, what, you can eat dinner? And I was like, but you told me I wasn't allowed to. And it's like, oh, your punishment was to not eat anything from now until dinner. And I was like, oh. I did not follow that punishment at all. I can't remember what happened after that. I don't know if I even got punishment afterwards. It was probably just like, oh, you know what? All sort of ends well, I guess. I mean, I didn't get punished all that much when I was younger. I wasn't much of a troublemaker in the first place. If anything, if things I did wrong, it was often due to, like, negligence rather than maliciousness or carelessness, I suppose. Like, you know, just mistakes, I suppose. Not to toot my own horn of my old behavioural style when I was younger. I don't really know how to phrase that sentence, and I don't think that was a valid way to phrase it. So we'll just go about our day. But yeah, no, what I wanted to talk about was the fact, of course, yesterday I had a lot of brainstorming about Fez. Did that video even upload? I'm not actually. I can't remember if I set it or not, so I should probably check. I think it did, but you know, you never know. So, but there have been times I've forgotten just to publish videos or not. Let's see, Fez. It did get uploaded, so there we go. Had a bit of a brainstorming session with Fez on what to do, because I've hit a wall in Fez, and you know, the conclusion I come to is now I basically need to crack the not Konami code, the Enigma code of Fez, and try and work out how the language translates, under assumptions that it's English. If it's not English, then I'm basically kind of doomed. But that was, I think, a fair assumption to work under. I haven't done it yet, and honestly, I'm getting kind of excited of it. I've done compiling, like all the times I've noticed language appear in the videos that I've recorded. Maybe I haven't done all of them. I think I got to like episode 8 or something when I got bored and stopped. So I had to go back and do the other thing. I think the only thing I'm missing is I need to take pictures of the maps, but that's about it. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about it, except for I just need to sit down and just like Codebreak. And I mentioned it. Oh no. Oh, we'll just go buy another one. I mentioned it in yesterday's video that we had a code breaking like school lunchtime club, I suppose, back in secondary school. It was only open to maybe year 7s or year 8, so when I was like 12 to 14. I can't remember what age exactly it was. And I participated in it. What it was meant to do is like each like class, I suppose, was meant to... Oh, I didn't sell this! Whoops. Was meant to sell? Was meant to send like a team of 4 or something to be their code breaking representatives or whatnot. And then what you do is you go like take part in like the lunchtime club activity where the maths teacher basically talked about codes, a specific code. Like within the first week it was is it called a Caesar code? I can't remember. Was it Caesar substitution, something like that? But one way is a one-to-one substitution just by shifting all the letters along a certain amount, and the key is understanding how far along it shifted. Oh, no fish fishing rod. Boo hiss. And then you get an assignment where you have to... It's basically like an encrypted piece of text or whatever, which you have to then decrypt yourself as your assignment and then submit it into the school website. A couple of things. I remember the assignment, it was time-based. Like, the earlier you submitted it, the more points you got. Except for I guess we didn't take it all that seriously because it didn't really feel all that competitive doing it. So we like never submitted things or just submitted things really late for our class because I believe we had a thing where it's if you're not in the UK, this might be a strange foreign concept. You just think of like Harry Potter, how there's different houses. Everyone had different houses, and you like earn points by doing like these house competitions throughout the year. The house with the most points at the end is the winner. Because this was meant to be like a competition between houses and classes, except for I don't think we got any points for the house competition, so no one really took it. No one took it really that seriously. So we didn't take it as seriously. It was just more like, oh, we get to attend cool like double Gloucester cheese for cheese rolling. Fair enough. Carnations and thank you, Mum. Mother's Day. Wait, what? This is International Mother's Day, not UK Mother's Day, which has already happened back in March, I think. I was like, what? Wait a second. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was a house competition, and it's just our class didn't take it seriously. We just got to attend some cool like code breaking talks, I suppose, during our lunchtime activities. Which, yeah, looking back, we definitely should have engaged more. And it wasn't like it was particularly hard to engage with, because the format every single time was they gave us exactly what code or what cipher that we need to use to break this week's code, and then we just apply it directly to the code we've been given for that day, for that week. But I remember the first one. Well, I don't remember the talk all that well, but it was about, I think it's called the Caesar cipher or something like that, or Caesar substitution or something. Let me Google it. Caesarian cipher. Cipher? Is it a thing? Caesar cipher. Yeah, the shift cipher over Caesar shift. It's a type of substitution cipher where all the letters are just shifted along one, and that's how you get your new alphabet. And I remember we got that assignment, and it was so easy that like the first day I was like in call on Skype or something with the other people in the group. I think Ali was one of them. I don't actually remember. And we just like googled online Caesar cipher solver, and we just put it in, and it just gave it to us, and we were like, oh, sick. And then I guess we had to submit it. But the thing is, school websites, especially back then, I don't know if they're better now, but our secondary school website was not like very user interface very friendly. It was a real pain to navigate anywhere in it, and to like, we had to go in this like specific part of the website, which is not the main website, where we had to log on to, and things took forever to load, and then you had to go to navigate to a specific part to submit it of a specific page, and sometimes it was down. And I think it was down when we tried to submit it, so it was like, we'll just submit it later, and then we just forgot. And it was like the day before, we were like, oh no, we were meant to submit this. for a competition thing. So I tried to submit it, and it turns out the website, that website was down for today. So I was like, okay, what do we do? I can't remember. I think the maths teacher like sent out like a notice being like, oh, we got reports that the website went down. If you got your answer, just give it to me like on a USB stick. And so, you know, that's what I did instead. I gave it to him on a USB stick. I remember distinctly because that message, when you put it through a Caesarean cipher, when decoded, it had a typo in like one of it, like the first few words or something, which was an intentional typo put in by the teacher to make sure that you actually translated it correctly, I guess, and kept the typo in. Except for I feel like I had the reverse effect, because me seeing the typo, my first instinct would be like, oh, he made a typo, he probably meant this, I wonder if I should correct that or not. But I thought about it and I was like, no, you know, I can argue it from a better position if I just leave it as it is. So I just sort of left it. It's not the first time actually a teacher's done that, now I think about it. Because there was I hadn't, if you know, I did electronics, and there was a before our teacher taught us about binary. I already knew what binary was, because I don't know, I guess it was a mathematical concept that I learned probably from one of the random maths trips and days and special events I got to go on by being good at maths. It was like a final bonus question at the end of one of our like termly exams or something, and it was basically just a binary string. It's like translate this binary string. He may have just like written as like, what is this number in decimal or something, and what it was basically like the serial number on the front of a test, just translated to binary, except for I had a typo in it. And me being a studious student, I already knew all the answers, so I finished the test rather quickly, and I just spent the time like decoding that the binary. And when I noticed there was a typo, and I was like, do I leave this typo in or not? What a fantastic picture, man. Let's look at that, beautiful. And I remember arguing myself for like 20 minutes of the examination, just being like, do I leave this typo in? Do I not leave this in? And then eventually I think I did choose to leave it in, and then put it in brackets above it. I was like, I think this is a typo. I think this is meant to be that, but this is what the number says. Because I was like, okay, if it is a typo, if it was an intentional typo, then, you know, putting the right answer down makes more sense. If it was not an intentional typo, then I can argue just being like, hey, this is actually what the number says. But I do remember checking multiple times. I mean, I checked exams so many times already, you might. I feel like it's quite common for a lot of people, especially if, oh my god, my shovel. I got to be from a much more privileged position of being rather good academically. But if you are good academically, it's quite common for you to just like, you know, turn over the exam paper really loudly, make sure that you're done as quick as possible, then like don't even check and you just turn it in just to sort of like, I don't know, get bragging rights or something. It's like, oh, look how quickly I finished the examination. I was not like that. I used my full time, and even if it meant like checking my exam paper like 8 times in a row, and I still made mistakes, so it really wasn't great. But that was why it was like, because I still make mistakes, even though if I check it like twice, I still got to check it over and over again, and I try checking it in a different way every single time to make sure it makes sense. But you know, sometimes you get a bit lazy and slack and things slip by you, but still, you know, that just kind of happens. It's just to minimize those chances rather than to leave them as is, shall we say. And sorry, just choked there. Anyway, yeah, so it's not the first time that a teacher intentionally put in like a little mistake in the thing just to catch out people who are like, I don't even know, because at the time I understand the concept is to make sure that people actually understood the prompt properly and, you know, paying attention, so that they recognize there's a mistake and intentionally put in a mistake because the question intentionally has a mistake. For me, it just made me a bit more paranoid, because I was like, is this a mistake or have I done it wrong? And then I just check it like 5 times and being like, okay, no, definitely this mistake is meant to be here, or at least that's what the question says, but I still don't know if it's meant to be here or not. Do I correct the mistake or not? Because I guess it's meant to check that you actually understand it properly, but I'm going to be honest, the people who don't understand it properly aren't going to randomly guess this answer. Like, you think someone who didn't know how to translate binary is randomly going to guess that the answer to the binary translation question was a serial number in front of a test, you know? It's that would be, if they managed to guess that, they deserve a point. Controversial? Not really. That would be astonishing if they managed to guess that. Such a random response to an examination question. But in my eyes, they kind of deserve it for using such. It's not even deduction, I guess. I guess it kind of is deduction, but you know, just good guesswork to find that only number which really makes sense in that context. So the people who know how to solve the problem in the first place will just solve it normally, you know. But okay, it's like I understand the point, and really, it's not really a big problem in the slightest. But it's like it caused a little bit of stress to me. Record time when I was like so furiously checking all these answers, being like, But in the end, it doesn't really matter. I understand the concept. Maybe it's a book, which sounds like Lily. Because apparently everyone knows that the normal villagers, the only personality trait they have is to read a book. So, sorry, let me take a sip of water. Sipped. But yeah, oh yeah, I was talking about code breaking. And then, like, another time I remember code breaking, this was in the second session. Sorry, a little bit of the pause there. I was talking about code breaking, yes, in the second section. Hold on, my volume's turned all the way up now. I can tell because I can hear what Blabbers is saying. It was in the second session, I remember. It took place and then, like, well, I was just paying attention to it. And then the head teacher came in at some point. By the way, I'm half convinced the head teacher did not like me a lot for some reason. I don't really know why. That was just the impression I got. Well, not that he didn't like me, but he was like, I don't know. I'm not here to air my grievances about my head teacher. He was, as I can tell, he's a pretty good. I respect him for being able to run a secondary school. You know, and it's no easy feat, mind you. And he did a pretty good job. And even if he was much more biased to probably students who did sports rather than maths and sciences, and so be it. Everyone's got their biases. Like, I mean, if I was a teacher, I guess I'd probably do the same thing, even if I try unconsciously not to. It'd just be a subconscious thing, so I can't really blame him. And plus, I don't even know if he didn't like me or not. It's just, you know, you get feelings about people when you talk to them, and the feeling, oh, it's got a little lily pad. And the feeling I got was like whenever I spoke to him, which is not very often, is that he was, not that he didn't like me, but it was like, you know, a bit of trepidatious waters. It's not really the right way to use that word, but still. But anyway, he came in and he was like, where is... he was asking for Ned, I believe, actually. And then I remember I was just being like, oh, Ned, he's probably by this place right now. He didn't ask me directly. He was just like, yelling out loud. I was like, is Ned here? And then he pointed at me. It was like, you need to be... You're meant to be downstairs right now. And I'm like, what? I am? And it turns out it's because at the same time there's another house competition going on, which is the university challenge for the school thing, and I was the substitute for it because it was actually Ned and someone else, because they were both very good at general knowledge, and Ned still is very good at general knowledge, to be honest. Back then, actually, I was decent at general knowledge. I was much more, of course, inclined to maths and sciences, except for the problem back then was I was very unconfident, so I was so scared to ever buzz in to any of those questions. But whenever it was the questions where we could deliberate with amongst ourselves, I felt like I pulled my weight. But anyway, yeah, that was honestly frightening. Just like him walking in, just calling out the entire thing. So where's this person? I respond, I answer his question. And he's like, you're meant to be downstairs right now. It probably wasn't that stern, but it felt that stern. He was probably quite annoyed because, you know, he's trying to run a competition, a quiz competition, and one of the contestants hasn't shown up or something. So, you know, going around. Actually, I don't know why he even went around looking for him. I feel like I would have just started and just be like, well, your contestant didn't turn up, and tough luck. From Camor? Rach! It's Claude from Camor. Wait, hold on. I don't know what villager type you are. I looked you up, but I immediately forgot. Are you lazy? I gotta know what voice to give you. You're lazy. Okay. I got on a plane and ended up here. I don't even know where here is. I'm such an adventurer. So this is Fawnhollow, and you're dear. Me. I bet we'll have lots of fun. I can't believe it. You're from Camor. If I don't get unpacked today, it'll be another day until I find folks to play with. So I'm gonna get all my stuff out of boxes and on the floor where it belongs. Fair enough. You have a lot of manga in your room, so we'll leave you to it. Yeah, I feel like if I was a head teacher in that scenario, I'd just be like, okay, tough, your teammate didn't show up, well, you're going 3v4 until he shows up. What happened was, I believe it was the notice that we got about when the competition was happening, we were incorrectly told the wrong day, so we thought it was the next day rather than that day. So that was just very freaky, because he didn't even tell me why I had to be downstairs. Like, I followed him being like, I'm sorry sir, what's the issue? He didn't respond to me, just carried on walking. So I was like, okay, like, am I in trouble? What did I do? And as what downstairs, it's like, all right, you're on the quiz show now. And I'm like, okay, I mean, okay. I guess, I mean, technically I did sign up for it. I just didn't expect it to happen like right this instant, but here we are. So that was kind of terrifying. And I wonder if ever since then he was like, oh, wow, I really don't like Dear Darling as a student. Probably not. I'm probably reading into it too much, but he was probably just apathetic towards me, which is fair enough. I mean, there's like, what, like 1,600 students or something? You can't know all of them. and you can't get about all of them in the first place. So you know, you can only give you can only give your respects, I suppose, to each and everyone as a human being. But you know, any deeper relationship as a teacher-student relationship doesn't necessarily need to go further than more than only a handful of students in the first place. So fair enough. But yeah, that's kind of frightening. I think we won still that round, so I don't know why I did that. And then the next couple of events, of course, Ned got the right time or whatever, and actually did the competition rather than me. So yeah, because I did it in the first year. I did it in year, so it must have been year 8 now. I think about it. I did it in year 7. And I wasn't very good. Well, I wasn't very good. I knew the answers. I just was so scared to speak out, even if it's something I definitely knew. Like one of them was like, we was talking about gemstones, and I knew a lot about gemstones. It was like, what was a birthstone for like July or something, which is a ruby. And I knew the answer. I was like, ruby, 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 and I was screaming in my head, and I just couldn't bring myself to buzz in. And that happened a lot because I know I was just too anxious. Now I'd just be like, oh, I don't know, I think it's this. I mean, if I didn't definitely know the answer, I would just like look up or down. Do my teammates look like they're about to buzz in? Nope. Buzz in. Guess what? I think the answer is for reasonable deduction. But of course, you know, unsurprisingly, I'm quite different from when I was half my age. It's a bit unsurprising that my confidence has grown since then. Also, I forgot we are meant to help out Gulliver today, so we probably should be looking for computer parts. Yeah, what was I saying? I forgot. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything important or not. Manila Clam, get out of here. Oh yeah, code breaking. So I don't know what happened to our code breaking. And from my memory, we actually submitted no other we did encrypted no other codes for some unfathomable reason and didn't submit them. And I remember the last week was apparently a very difficult code that only one group or something managed to decode. Nowadays, if I did it, I kind of actually respect it a lot more now. Like because you know when you're a kid or a teenager, you don't really understand how cool things really are until, you know, a bit later on. You're just saying like, you know, I'm a teen. I want to be seen as cool. What's cool? Not doing work, I guess. I don't really know. It's all very strange views on it. If anything, I feel like doing work is cool, you know? Having some sort of sense of responsibility, you know? Like if someone bragged to me being like, oh, I didn't even do homework this week, I'd just be like, why? I mean, I understand not being able to do it, but in which case you should, you know, you can ask me because I found it okay, or if I didn't, or, you know, ask a teacher about something, but just like choosing not to do it, it's like, all right. All right, weirdo, I guess. I mean, not really weirdo. Let's not make too many sweeping judgments as a teenager, especially because when I was a teenager as well, and it's not like I was much more different. Well, not different from now. I mean, I'm quite different now, I'd imagine, but like, you know, not too different from a crowd, despite how much I probably tried to be in certain aspects. I don't know why I'm just roasting my teenage self, but what was I going with this? Yeah, no, code breaking was kind of cool. I delved into history, and that's why. Anyway, long and short of it is, I'm interested in to try this code breaking, see how much I recall from that lunchtime club. Sorry, I just couldn't think of a word for some reason. And even more interesting, in uni I took a module in third year about coding and about cryptography and that sort of thing. It wasn't quite the same as coding because it's not so much about decoding. It was more like the maths behind decoding and encoding things, and like using prime numbers and Hamming codes and that sort of thing, and optimal codes and how to create them rather than necessarily decoding them. But there was definitely bits and pieces about decoding, and I remember that one of the most like easiest and most common ways is just like a frequency letter analysis. You just count how many times symbols appear and then compare it to like the frequency of how much letters appear in whatever language you're decoding to. Like in English, the most common ones, E, A, I think R and S are quite common. No, S and T. Maybe it wasn't R, I can't remember. The vowels are significantly more common. Of course, Q is probably will never appear. If there's one letter which always follows from another letter, then it could possibly be a Q-U combo. Wait, we don't need to fish you. We're done fishing, haven't we? Yeah, we're done fishing. We don't need to do that. Let's customize fishing net. No, not fishing net. Fishing net. Bug net and slingshot. Yeah. No, watering can. I don't think we customized the watering can for a while. Yeah, there's definitely other stuff, but I can't really remember off the top of my head. I would have to look back at my notes. But I'm going to see how what I can do. So I've already got some plans, you know. I've looked up tablets, you know. I'm going to look for common words, 3-letter words. Going to try things like the, and, very common things. I was meant to customize, not craft. Maybe do a little bit of frequency analysis. Look for, because as I found out, there's actually a lot of like solo words written around the place in Fez, which I should take the time to try and like see if I can guess on context what they mean. So I've like taken screenshots of the entire context and that sort of thing. I will say the numbers I think is going to be the easiest thing, and that's because the numbers I already had as I watched my past outs, I already had a pretty decent guess of what the numbers were, and you know, spoilers, I'm pretty sure that the square shapes with like the clock hands in them, and I had a reasonable guess that number 1 is probably the one pointing upwards, number 2 is probably pointing to right, number 3 down, and number 4 to the left, and maybe it carries on in some form or another like that because of the map symbols. So yeah, I've already got a pretty decent guess, and it turns out there's a really big clue which I missed early on. I missed early on because I didn't realise that Fez had different number system at a point, but the time I discovered the big clue was in episode 4, and the time I came up with the theory about the numbering system was in episode 7. There's a classroom which has what I believe is like the 0, 1, 2 and 3 written on my board. So there we go, we already got some useful hints here and there. So I think the numbers I can actually work out pretty quickly. I think the letters are going to be quite difficult, unless I just get super lucky or I get like a huge breakthrough in some of the remaining videos of like stuff to look at. Then I think the letters is going to take a long time. So yeah, I'm planning just to have like a full, unfiltered, like unedited. I mean, all my videos are unedited mainly. Video, just me just like working in Clip Studio Paint, just like trying to analyze the letters and trying to come up with a decryption, and hopefully that will help the sort of blockage I've got with Fez and allow me to break through into new territories and fancy things like that. So yeah, I'm really putting my code breaking skills to the test. Watch out, I'm gonna get my own what's it, movie named after me with Da Vinci Code. Do the other animals clap if you catch a flea? Sorry about that, Jakey. A flea? I kick the fleas out because they never paid rent. Thanks, burritos. I guess Jakey doesn't really care about that sort of thing. You would have thought Vivian would be more mortified. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like Da Vinci Code. I watched that when I was way younger. Did not understand it, by the way. Spoilers, the Da Vinci Code is Apple for some reason. The only part I remember is like it was in this like little lockbox with a 5-letter password. By the way, 5-letter password, and each letter has about like at max 12 different combinations or something. That's so easily brute forceable. Like you could super brute force that like Tumblr lock. So I don't know why there was so much hullabaloo about it in the first place, when really it wouldn't have taken that long for them to open. They went on this whole chase around Paris, or maybe on the whole of France in general, just to find it. But you know, wouldn't have made a very good story if it was just like, oh, here we go, I just brute forced it by trying every combination. If I did that once, like we used to have lockers and we had locks on them, obviously. Well, maybe not obviously, but they didn't have built-in locks, I suppose we had to bring in. And then one of my friends, he like accidentally reset his combination, and he couldn't figure out what it was, so he couldn't put like his lock back on. And then I figured out how to basically break into that lock. So now I know. You can actually like on the spinny, like not tumblers, like the wheel mechanism, if you actually look at it from the right angle, you can sort of see a little bit of an inside mechanism, and if you spin that wheel around, you can actually see the little like iron bar, or the groove where the iron bar is meant to go, and if you line them all up along the line, that's how you can get the combination. So that's how I learned how to break into that. I also technically sort of know how to break into key locks from my random YouTube video watching. I've never put it into practice, apart from one time my uni friend got locked out of his room and I tried to break it in with like 2 bobby pins. Didn't work, by the way. But it was cool in theory. So it's like, in theory, I know the concept behind how to break into a tumbler lock. You know, you got to have like a winch sort of thing to have a tension, and you got like this little pick which you use to press over tumblers. I don't know what they're called. And you got to get them to be binding or whatever, and it'll allow you to twist it over and over and over again until you can finally open it the entire way. That's how it works in concept. I've not done it in practice, so Really, that remains to be seen. And also, I guess lockpicking's, you know, it's kind of a similar vein to code breaking. It's not really the same, but you can sort of see where I'm coming from, or how that leap of logic really came to be. So yeah, we'll talk to Gulliver. We'll give him these broken parts, and then I will round up this episode here. And now I actually need to render this video and stitch them together. Oh, some beachside yoga. Wait a minute, that seems fun. And I'll probably just, you know, chill out for the rest of the day. I will say, Idolmaster Shiny Colours, either my favourite or second favourite character, got a new card today, limited card today. I'll be putting for her later. Not on the channel, of course, it's not something you want to see, and I'm not sure if I want to particularly encourage gambling on these YouTube videos or anything like that. So, yeah. Animal Crossing, there's no loot boxes yet. I mean, Pocket Camp's a different story, but we're not playing Pocket Camp, so we don't really need to worry about that sort of thing, do we? Yeah, but we'll round off this episode here. And we'll go about my business. You go about your business. Maybe you're already going about your business if I'm on your second monitor or in the background, which is fair enough, you know. I pride myself for being background entertainment, for just being able to non-stop talk. So yeah, code breaking, I guess. I don't really know. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. If it's been Animal Crossing New Horizons, I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Links down below. I hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, CZF. For now. Okay, I didn't encode that part. It didn't really work. Okay, whatever.